Welcome, dear Thrivers, and thank you for joining with me for an important live about one of the most painful aspects of narcissistic abuse. And I want to thank you for joining me. And you may feel that this information is very important to share with other people that are going through this pain and this trauma. It's so common. Truly, narcissists are like cookie cutters. They come out of the same mold, they do the same stuff. And there's very few people that haven't suffered or aren't going through what I'm going to talk about today if you've been with a narcissist. Now, I know and trust that this is going to give you relief and it's going to give you answers, and it may be a really important key to help you move on. Now, please know here at Cape Tribulation that reception's a little bit glitchy at the moment because there's been a lot of rain. So if I bump out, I'll try and pick up in the chat that I have and I'll repeat what I just said because I hope that this is going to be vital information for you. Okay, so, and also too, I'll get to the comments and the questions after the live. So whether or not you're here live or you're watching this on the recording, I love your comments and your questions. They're always amazing. And please know whether you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm going to post it to YouTube, or you're here on Facebook, I will be responding. So let's go. Let's go. So, what we're going to talk about today is even worse, if possible, than discard, and it's even worse than being replaced by new supply, which usually takes the time to boil an egg. Narcissists are onto it very, very quickly, and you may be really thinking, well, maybe that person was lined up anyway. I really wanted to do this Thriver TV because it's been coming up a fair bit in the community, and I hear how agonizing it is when somebody new takes your place with a narcissist, and even worse when apparently it looks like that they're so in love with this new person and that they're granting them everything that you thought you wanted and everything that you were jumping up and down and trying to get that was being withheld. All of a sudden, this person is getting all of it. And I hear this so often when you say she or he, usually it's he, seems to be granting the new supply everything that I wanted. Does that mean that there's something wrong with me? I promise you, in true Thriver orientation today, we're going to do a deep dive into how this takes place, why it's a game, why it doesn't mean any of those things, and how it's going to give you relief and grant you your power back. Regardless of how shocking this feels right now, and I'm going to help you release this crippling story so that you can go free. I'm also going to help you understand how you never have to go through these feelings again and how you can actually start attracting healthy, loving, and fulfilling relationships that you can trust, which certainly hasn't been what it's been with a narcissist. And that is what thriving is. It's the upshift, the up level, where we're not just going to go through this, we're going to grow through this and heal. If you want true solutions to not just survive what you're feeling, but thrive into your best life ever after abuse, I want you to write thrive on in the comments below. That's a powerful intention that starts that manifestation for you. And it'll feel good. It'll feel good in your body. All right, so we're going to talk about the narcissist perspective regarding you and the new supply. So, from their vantage point, a narcissist doesn't look at love and connection and unity the way that you or I do. A narcissist actually doesn't want to share their heart, their life, and their soul with somebody else. Believe it or not, they don't. And they don't want to grow together and they don't want to create happily ever after. That's not their goal. A narcissist doesn't even want a partnership, and a partnership is those things. Now, you may think that this is really crazy, and you may think, well, Melanie, why do they even have relationships? Why do they have people in their lives with whom they pretend to have committed relationships and even marriages with? They don't do it for partnership. It's actually about dictatorship. But it's even worse and it's even more creepy than that. It's about siphoning out another person's soul, their resources, and their life force. It's about capturing them to be able to do that. Because that's how a narcissist feeds that empty, dark, black hole inside themselves, which is who the narcissist really is. And even worse, a narcissist sees any person that they're connected with intimately or closely as an object, as an opportunity. They're not held and regarded as a flesh, blood, bone human or a soul. The narcissist holds this object responsible for what the narcissist needs and wants. And when the object can't supply the unrelenting needs and demands, the narcissist has got to demonize that object, devalue this person, discard them, and create them as the enemy. Now, this might be really hard to accept, but it is the truth. You are an it to a narcissist, an object. You're not a human being. Which doesn't mean that you're not a human being and you're not lovable as a human being. It's just the narcissist's perspective. It says a lot more about them than it does you. So as far as a narcissist is concerned, their narrative to themselves is, how dare you not give me what I want? Which means, how dare you not give me myself? Is really where the narcissist is vibrating at a very low consciousness level. And it gets even worse than this. The narcissist needs to maintain an image out into the world of, there's nothing wrong with me in regard to this relationship breakdown that they had with you. It was all about that other person. It was about you. Because I'm functional, I'm good, and I'm worthy of being recognized and admired. Mind you, nothing is further from the truth. It's all an act. It's a charade. So when a narcissist ends a relationship with you, because they are an empty black void, they need somebody quickly to take your place, to receive narcissistic supply again, which is attention, energy, life force, stuff, resources. They also need to convince themselves that this person is the newest, greatest thing in their life so that they can get a high. It's a drug to them, idolizing a new person. And they do it with every new person. They more than likely did it with you. Do you remember that? Say yes in the chat if you did. If you do. Because that's how they appeared to be in your life. I want to go through three reasons why the new supply seems to get everything that you wanted. Now, this is the truth, and the truth will help set you free. It's not the truth that you think, which is, well, I'm not good enough, and maybe they are, and maybe it was me who was defective. That's not the truth. This is the truth. So let's go into number one. The narcissist is going for a huge amount of narcissistic supply because what happened in the relationship with you is you started waking up, you put your foot down, you started questioning, you started standing up, you wanted accountability. You weren't as easy to manipulate. And also too, you started breaking down which meant that there wasn't as much to gain from you. Cruel but true. Okay, so the narcissist is going for big narcissistic supply like any drug addicts. They want a huge hit of a drug to take them away from how they really feel about themselves. So in a new relationship, there's all this idolization and this fantasy world and, this high of this drug. So a narcissist loves milking the idolizing stage. This person is the best thing since poached eggs, since sliced bread. And it's always the same. It's always the same. And you may be in bed with, the doona over your head and you're like, oh my God. And you're thinking, are they missing me? Are they missing me? Are they missing me? Here is another truth that can really help set you free. The narcissist is not missing you. Not because you're not worth missing, because you were an object. And it's no more than them genuinely loving this new person. They're an object too. It looks all loved up and wonderful and incredible, but it's actually all about the drug. It's about the high. It's not even about that person. Okay, so it looks like it's wonderful with that person, but it's just the drug of that person, the high. Number 2. Now, this is so true. Number 2, the other purpose is to punish you. The narcissist wants to punish you. Once you're devalued and discarded or you've left, they have to punish you. Because their insecure, childish, messed up inner self is vibrating at this low frequency of how dare you not supply the ecstatic feelings of attention and resources that was going to keep me away from my own inner demons. We can't fathom that, but that's how they vibrate. So bad you for failing at that job. So you're now the enemy as far as the narcissist is concerned in their childish inner tantrum. And the narcissist maliciously wants to punish you by granting the new supply exactly what was withheld from you, knowing full well that you're going to see it and it's going to hurt you. And it's all a part of, look at how significant I am game. The narcissist knows people get trauma bonded to them. They know that. They know people can't get them out of their heads. They know people obsess about them and check up on them and look at them through social media and ask people what's going on. They know that. They know that you're going to investigate. They know you're going to see the new supply getting immediately and exactly what you hung out for. They got the prize that you, the greyhound, it's like you were chasing around a track after a rabbit, but you never got to catch the rabbit. And of course, the narcissist knows that this new person walking in and getting it straight away is going to devastate you. They know that. And that ensures for a narcissist that they get to hang on to your soul, your attention, indefinitely. Having your attached emotional energy for as long as they desire. You're still on the hook. And it comes in really handy for later because they may hoover you, they may triangulate you, or maybe they're just getting a good old ether feed as the psychic vampires that they are, and they are, off your emotional pain through the unseen vibrational world. They are literally getting a feed. And unless you haven't realized yet, when you're attached to a toxic person and you're not yet healed up and liberated from it, you're in a spiritual war for your soul That's why narcissistic abuse feels so insane and ridiculous. There's nothing logical about it. Number 3, reason why the new supplier seems to be getting everything that you wanted. The third part of this game is that the narcissist needs to portray to all and sundry, I'm healthy, look at me. I can have a new relationship, I'm fine. They were the problem, meaning you were the problem. And that's why it didn't work. And now I've got a really good person who's not what they were. And everything's great. I'm great. My life is great. It's all a show. And it's always the same formula from one new supply to the next. Now, this is what is so important, what I'm about to share with you. And I hope that that's given you some perspective. So, how is the outcome the same for you and the new supply? What's the outcome going to be? Because this is what we think, don't we? We think, well, maybe it's going to be great with them and they're going to get this happy life that I always wanted. Let's check this out. The narcissist's behavior with a new supply, any new supply, is always this. I'm going to find out what hurts you or what's missing in your life. I'm going to purport to be the deliverer of it to hook you in. That's the Trojan horse that gets through the gates. I'm bearing you goodies. You're going to let me in. And then we know what happened in that story. The gate shut and mayhem unleashed. So they get into your life by finding out what's hurting or what's missing and purporting to grant it to you. And then what happens with every new supply is then the narcissist will start withdrawing it, and the new supply, whoever that is, will keep chasing it and trying to get it back. And the narcissist is always seeing what they can get away with. And it will end up being more and more and more. And in the meantime, while that's going on, the narcissist can twist and turn and gaslight and manipulate and get you to hand over more and more of yourself while you're chasing the goodies that they start pulling away from you. So with narcissists, in order to take our power back, it's really important to look at ourselves, because that's what thriving is healing ourselves. We all had our unhealed traumas, and the narcissist is adept at working that out really quickly. So they fact find, they lean in, they ask questions. Have you ever heard a narcissist say to you, I know exactly what makes that person tick? They literally tell you what they're up to. Have you ever had a narcissist drop a comment like that and you think, wow, you actually check people out to that level and you have to work out how they tick or how they think or how they operate? Say yes in the chat if that's ever been your experience, because I've heard that story so many times. Okay, so the narcissist works out really quickly people they want to get intimate with and they want to ensnare for narcissistic supply. So for example, you may have the inner programming of your childhood and your previous relationships, that stuff of I don't feel important, I'm irrelevant, I don't even exist in relationships. Like people just don't show up for me. So the narcissist will work that out. And they will initially shower you with the feelings like you're the only person in the room, in their life. Finally, you're seen, you're heard, you're valued, and you think you've hit pay dirt. You think, oh my God, this is my soulmate. Say me in the chat if you've had that experience, because virtually all of us did at some level. But it's an act. It's not the truth. It's an act, and they know how to do it. They worked out that was what they needed to do to love bomb you and get you to trust them and get attached. And then they start withdrawing it. And it all goes back to the original program of I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm not valued, I'm invalidated. And that starts getting ramped up. They detach horrifically from you and they make it think it's all your fault. They'll turn it on you. They'll say, you're insecure, you're imagining it. I never did that. Or I did that because you did this. Say yes in the chat if that's been you. And you chase the original version that you thought you had. And really what you're chasing is the relief of the painful inner programs that you thought had ended as a result of that person. You thought, I'm never going to have to go through this again. That was actually the perfect, powerful trauma bond. With the new supply, the narcissist showers them with attention and is going to give them a ring on their finger and may even marry them within months. And you're like, they wouldn't commit to me. I wasn't important enough. And now they're going to commit, they're going to marry, they've proposed. And of course you're going to think it's because they've met real love and I wasn't good enough to commit to. However, they're not committed to anything other than their own false self and their narcissistic supply. And they are so narcissistic and ridiculous. Truly, it's so childish. They will literally do that just to hurt you. I'm not kidding. Over the last nearly 20 years, I've had narcissists come forward and admit it. They did it to hurt the old supply. That's how ridiculous their ego is. I know we think that's insane, but to them, it's fair game. All bets are off when they're trying to hurt somebody else. Okay, so that's, what you've been going through. Now let's discuss the new supply. Now let's just say that they didn't have that trauma program of I'm irrelevant, I'm invisible, nobody sees me, I'm not important. Let's say they had a completely different inner trauma program of people don't trust me, they control me, they breathe down my neck, they're jealous, they monitor me. I'm not allowed any freedom, right? I'm not allowed to make my own choices. I have my own rights. I'm severely enmeshed with and controlled. And that was their childhood. And that's what they went through in relationships up to this point. So the narcissist comes into their life, acts all pleasant and empathetic and interested and caring, and identifies very quickly that that's their skirmish. So then all the narcissist has to do to ensnare them is pretend that he or she is going to trust them and grant them space and that they're really secure in their own skin. And I love that you do this and I love that you do that and I'm going to support you. And it's, I want you to spread your wings and fly. I want to give you space and freedom. So the new supply thinks, oh my God, this is the best. This is everything I've always wanted. Finally, I'm going to have somebody who's not jealous, somebody who's got their own self-worth, who's going to let me shine. So it goes really well for a time. The new supplier trusts them. They have this loved up, glorious experience. But then it reverts back, and it always does. The narcissist is going to start questioning, interrogating, distrusting, and controlling them. The new supply is constantly trying to go back to the dream person that they believed the narcissist was. You know, the reward for their praying, the reward for their therapy, all the work they've done on their painful past. Because I can assure you they had a painful past as well. That's why the narcissist is in their life. So the truth is the new supply is going to go through exactly what you went through. Idolize, devalue, discard. And they got hooked in exactly the same way. And that cycle of idolize, devalue, and discard will go over and over and over many times. Because in the makeup, you know, you could feel so showered with what you want and love and attention. Then the devaluing starts again, the blame shifting, the three-ring circus, and then the discarding, you know, throwing you under a bus, abandoning you, doing all sorts of terrible things that betray you. The new supply goes through it too. And it's going to happen until the relationship explodes like yours did. Or maybe that person is going to just suffer in silence and implode. And they're going to just acquiesce to the abuse to try to maintain their life whilst they're dying on the inside. And the narcissist is absolutely going to use outer supply for thrills and significance, because the narcissist isn't loyal to anybody or anything except their false self. So they betray everybody one way or another. So that's not, you know, you might look at the new supply and think, well, you've been there for 5 years and it looks like it's all okay. I can assure you it's not. And I promise you, in the last 20 plus years, the amount of people that have come forward after 10, 15, 20 years, and they've said, well, you know, I was dying on the inside and it was horrific. All right, so let's have a look at your thriving from this. As thrivers, we have the empowered orientation of, what is my gift in this? What is my healing and my growth in this? Because without healing and growth, we don't recover. We might survive, but we're going to be stuck with all of the abuse symptoms for life, but we're not going to recover and thrive and leave those patterns behind and become bigger and better than what we ever were, which is what thriving is. And again, if that's where you want to go, write thrive on in the comments. So what is happening for us here? When we met the narcissist, we thought we'd met the person who was going to be the soother of the wounds. And a lot of that was unconscious. It just felt soothing. And, you know, we kind of might have consciously thought, well, this is my reward finally for everything that I've been through in the past. I've met the one now. And you know, they were wonderful for a time. Absolutely. And we fell for it and we believed it. And we gave them access to our bodies, our money, our properties, our sexuality, our soul. We gave them access to our everything because we believed that that's what loving people do. The Trojan horse that they were, pretending to bear gifts, got in the gates, and we celebrated that. You know, in the movie, you saw the one with, you know, Troy and Brad Pitt. They were dancing and they were celebrating and they thought it was wonderful around this Trojan horse, you know. And then We did that too. And while we relaxed and were asleep, the carnage unleashed. And the carnage is this: I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to trauma bond you, and I'm going to control you so that I can siphon out everything that I want from you whilst I keep you on the hook constantly. So really, you know what a narcissist does? It's worse than a dictatorship. It's a hostage situation. When you look at the news supply versus you, they're just at the beginning of their process, if that's where it is. You might just be in this fresh trauma of, oh my God, why are they getting this? And I'm chopped liver now. I mean nothing. And you may have even had children with this person. And it's mind-blowing. So you might, okay, there at the start, if the new supply, for example, just as an example, let's say they have those wounds of control and enmeshment, down the track, she is going to suffer so much pathologically jealousy and sabotage, she's going to become a shell. And let's say that she's had those unhealed wounds of I'm unimportant and people don't commit to me. They don't stand for me. You know, she's going to get that wound ripped open so hard, harder than ever. And then what will happen is the narcissist, if it's a her, the new supply, I'm just using that as an example. This happens to men and women, by the way, totally. But let's just say the narcissist will then discard her, the shell she's become, and is purposefully going to pick someone that they can grant to what the old person wanted. So let's say she wanted her freedom, she wanted to succeed in her career, and the narcissist was jealous and sabotaged and kept her up fighting of a night whenever she had to do a presentation and all the horrible things they do. The narcissist will go after a career person and look and brag on social media about, you know, I'm so proud of my partner and the things that they do. Just as an example. So that is going to come up, and they do it. They don't all do it, but so many do it. Okay. So they could pick somebody who's got their own career, who travels the world, who needs freedom, and who has to have a supportive partner who can trust them and back them. The narcissist will pretend to be that person to rub it in your face. And it's going to be rubbed in the predecessor's face. The next new supply receiving everything that they wanted from the narcissist. Now, truly, in this nearly 2 decades of being in this community, I've seen the proof of this unfold more times than I could count. When new suppliers got in contact with old supply, they've shared the war stories and they found out it was like 2 different people. The narcissist played the role of whatever they needed to do to hook, to trauma bond, to love bomb. It's the same formula. So you, on the other hand, are at the end of this terrible process. A new supply is just beginning it. They're going to have to go through the whole range of this. You're at the end of it, and that's a really good thing. And at the end of it, you're left with you. And that's a good thing too. Specifically, the terrible triggers that you're feeling right now. And of course, what's triggered off within you is, I'm not enough to be loved. I'm not lovable enough to be chosen or to be supported or to be trusted or whatever it is. Now, the truth of this is exactly how your childhood felt. This isn't new. Okay? And this is the important piece here. So if you know that, say me in the chat. Okay? Or say hands up. Write hands up. I'm putting my hands up. Because when and after narcissistic abuse, these traumas that were latent, they were there. And, even though life had been disappointing and painful, you could have your life with them. But after narcissistic abuse, literally it can feel like an atom bomb has gone off inside of you. And it's really hard to go on as normal with these existing traumas that are now fully magnified and energized in your energy field. And this is for a reason. This is now your highest calling to turn inside and go free from them, finally. And that's what thriving is. It's about energy clearing those traumas. And it's important to understand that even though this information, I really hope from my heart to yours, that it gives you some answers and it gives you peace. But it doesn't change your inner programming. And you may recognize this because it's kind of like, well, I just want to keep watching this video over and over and over and over and over, to give me relief. You shouldn't have to remember, because then you're trying to do it through the mind. When you do energy clearing through the body, it just becomes a just isness. There's no more having to try to remember it. It just is. And it's only the inner work that delivers you to that place. That's the key to liberation and healing. And also, not just to get free of this shocking feeling like you just can't deal with what's happened. It's so horrific. The betrayal's so massive and the pain is so bad. Not only do you get relieved of all of those symptoms, you also are able to reprogram your future so that you're not going to again get into the same pattern. Because you don't want to unconsciously get hooked in to somebody who feels familiar and also feels like the savior of that pattern, which is where the huge chemical rush comes from. But they never were. They were actually the brutal messenger of the pattern, not the savior of it. You can rise into the person who finally doesn't have to have that inner program running. And then you're never going to accept a version of love less than the one that you have for yourself. So I really, really hope that this has helped. And I promise you, I went through this too. And it was so horrific for me, like it is for you, that I literally felt like I could not face the world and I could not operate. Until I discovered the deeper thriver truths of information. Plus I did the energy work to shift the trauma of it and the trauma of the pattern out of my energy field. I did an energy clearing on it with Quantum Freedom Healing. And then I could not care less, apart from have compassion for her and think, okay, well now you're going to go through your opportunity to heal what the narcissist is playing on here. Yep. And predecessors that I know about, to my knowledge, didn't do the healing. They stayed traumatized for a long, long time. But it's a choice. We can. All right. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, have a look at the link above that I've put with this live, which is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which is how myself and thousands of people have done the energy clearing to get out of these patterns. And that's why we thrive. All right. So thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for your energy, whether it's live or whether it's in the recording. And again, I'm going to love answering your comments and your questions, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Facebook. And I really hope this has helped. So until next time, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye bye.